So Sony just announced a brand new firmware update for the Sony A7 IV, and this is just a few months after they released version 4, which in my opinion was the biggest update yet for the Sony A7 IV. However, version 5 brings one feature that up to now was only available on the more pro cameras from the Sony line, at least cameras a few or a couple $1,000s more expensive than the Sony A7 IV, like the A1 Mark 1 and 2 and the A9 Mark 3. So the feature that's now included, among some other things, is Sony's camera authenticity solution, which is a great thing, but there is a caveat. First though, let's see what are some of the new features that are included in version 5, so you can determine for yourself whether you want to update to version 5 or if you're still on the fence. And I also know that some of you may have a fear of new firmware updates bricking your camera. I have to tell you something though, because if you follow all the proper procedures of how to update your camera, you shouldn't get a bricked camera. And I've updated the firmware on my Sony A7 IV for each of the previous updates, and my Sony camera is still up and running. If you've missed the previous version update for this camera though, I would suggest you check out this video up here or in the description below, because in my opinion, it's the best firmware update yet, and it has a ton of features that you are definitely going to have on your Sony A7 IV. All right, so let's get into version 5 and what are some of the other updates that are included. So version 5 supports the Write Digital Signature function for still images as part of Sony's camera authenticity solution, which I'll explain in just a bit. It also fixes an issue where switching the recording frame rate immediately after shooting causes audio and video to be recorded at different speeds or results in unstable operation in subsequent recordings. I have personally not experienced this issue, but some people may have. Fixes an issue where the cursor does not move correctly. It also fixes an issue where recording video by pressing the movie button in still image shooting mode causes certain button operations to stop working. Again, I haven't experienced any of this, and improves the operational stability of the camera. So if you've experienced any of those issues with your camera, then this is probably worth updating. So now let's talk about this digital signature feature. So Sony's camera authenticity solution is Sony's solution to combat the widespread and flooding of AI generated images that we see everywhere on the internet now. Sony's camera authenticity solution embeds a digital signature directly into the images the moment that they are captured. Like I mentioned earlier, there is a small caveat though, but first let me explain how this digital signature works. So each image is going to be stamped with unique metadata, and it will also include 3D depth information that you were actually there capturing that image, and it was not fake or generated by AI. This technology aligns with the C2PA standard, which tracks content authenticity and edits. It's definitely a big step forward for news agencies and organizations and anyone who needs trustworthy visuals. Currently, this is supported on the A1 Mark 1 and 2, A9 Mark 3, and now the Sony A7 IV. The big caveat though is that for now, this digital signature feature, it's only available for certain media outlets and not the general public. We're not sure when this is going to be widely available to the general public, but we do know that Sony is planning to implement this feature in other Sony cameras as well, and just to roll it out overall on more cameras. So if you want to work for media outlets or news organizations that have this available to them, then you may probably want to download version 5 to have that feature on your camera. Or if you want to have your camera ready for when this is more generally available, then you can also download version 5. So the easiest way of doing that is to download that file, the firmware file, into an SD card and then translating that into your camera. And this is how you do that. I'll also be linking to version 5 below, so you don't have to scour the internet for it, just click on the link below. So you can go to menu, setup option, version, and body to find the current version that you're in. Please note that if you are updating from version 1.01 or earlier, you need to first update to version 1.05 first, and then you can jump to version 5. Otherwise, you might have an error occurring and your camera may be bricked. After you download the firmware, you can save it into the root folder of your memory card, and do not change the file name. So that just means that you just have to copy that file into the main screen of your memory card before entering into any of those folders. So make sure you don't do that. Oh, actually, before you copy that into your memory card, make sure you format that memory card on your camera first. With a fully charged battery in your camera, you can now insert your SD card into the Sony camera. Make sure that you insert this into slot 1 because only slot 1 will recognize the firmware. Go to select menu, setup option, version, body, and now select software update. Select execute and the software update will commence. When the system software update starts, a black screen will appear and the axis lamp here will flash 1 time, 3 times, and then 5 times depending on the progress of the update, and this update should take about 6 minutes to complete. After that, your camera will show a body update complete notification, and you are now in version 5. So anyways, this is how to update to version 5. If you're interested in having your camera prepped for that digital signature feature, let me know in the comments below if you're planning to update your Sony A7 IV. I would love to hear how many of you are actually interested in this, but yeah, I would love to hear about it. And if you haven't subscribed, if you're still watching, you should probably subscribe. A lot of useful content for you similar to this video. And before you leave, here are a couple of videos you could watch next, and I'll see you there.